All right. Hello, everyone. Looks like we're live. So excited to have Susan Lynn joining us tonight. How are you doing, Susan?
I am good. Thank you for having me back on your channel. I appreciate it.
Of course. I always look forward to our shows together, and it's always so much fun. I know everybody in the chat really enjoys it as well. I
I
was
know
going to say,
everybody.
we were talking a little bit backstage about maybe some topics to bring up, and you brought up something really fascinating that I hadn't heard. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, we should wait because
You want to
in
wait for some
about
more people to
5 or
come in?
10 minutes, another 1,000
Right.
people are going to be here, and they're not going to hear it. So I think we should talk about something else, and then save
Okay.
that for maybe when people are here.
Sure.
You know what we can talk about is your states. You did a reading yesterday. You guys check out Kevin's. I hope you guys check out Kevin's readings that he does, his political readings. Um, and you were getting some outcomes of some of the votes for the states, and you
Yeah.
wanted to talk a little bit about that
Let's talk
today.
about it. I think it's very interesting, and I felt like it would be a referendum on many red state ballots that may help Democrats. I think more so in the Senate races, um, but let's talk about Florida. I mean, Biden says that he thinks it may be winnable. Like I said, I feel like Biden could win it, but I wasn't. I feel better about the Senate race than I do with the presidential going Democrat personally. But I would love to hear what you're picking up on that.
Well, I feel really good about it now that a couple of things have happened. So we are in a news rich environment right now. But
Yeah.
first of all, and I don't understand the legalities of it, but so whatever the Florida Supreme Court did, now this terrible ban, I mean, really restrictive ban on abortions is going to go into effect until the election. So you have this situation where over the summer, people are going to get to experience it, right? The news is going to get to report on it. This is going to really give Floridians a real idea of what
Hmm.
it would be like if they don't vote for the women's right to choose. So
Yeah.
this super restrictive thing just before the election, I think, is going to cause like a bounce, like a really big bounce in people voting. I think people are going to come out in droves, and then
Yeah.
add to that the fact that they have marijuana on the ballot. I think all these college kids are going to come out and vote like no tomorrow. Now, I agree with you that the guides are saying the voter suppression is going to be on 11. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna. I've seen already that they're probably going to try to not have voting on campus or make it only one place. They're going to limit. They're going to do everything they can to suppress the vote.
Hmm.
So I do think you're right in a sense that Florida probably. I mean, if you had to say how much you think Florida's vote is suppressed, because I think it's 25 to 30% of the vote is suppressed,
Oh,
meaning
wow.
I go to vote, the voting poll is moved, I need to go across town. I'm not going across town. Or I need to go to vote. And because there's only half as many or a quarter as many polls open, there's a 3 hour line. I'm not going to stay in
Hmm.
a three. You know what I mean? So that does winnow down, like if you're like, yeah, I wanted to, but I'm not staying in line for 3 hours. So it does really affect the vote. But even given that, I feel like
Hmm.
Florida is going to go blue. I mean, is that right? Very, very deep purple, if not blue. I mean,
I
shocking.
love
I
it.
think it's going to be shocking. And then you were talking about Texas in your live video yesterday. And I
Hmm.
learned something I didn't know. One of the reasons why Texas isn't because Texas residents are a lot like Floridians. It's kind of the same makeup in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And we apparently our constitution, the Texas Constitution, doesn't allow for people to sign a petition and get a vote. So
Hmm.
we can't do it, or else we would. I'm sure. We've got so many big blue cities here. Our rural area is very red, but so I think that might give Florida an edge over voting for Biden than Texas. I don't know.
I love it. Yeah. I kind of feel though, even though abortion isn't on the ballot in Texas, all of this crap about um, putting murder charges for women that have abortions, I feel like it gets really ugly. And like I was picking up like women being completely outraged
Yes.
in Texas, and not to say that it's not going to happen in Florida too. My guides told me in 2020, it was those two states specifically. I
Really?
agree with you that there's you know, making it longer, disenfranchising people from voting. But I feel like there was a lot of kind of underhanded things with votes in those two states too, and we have to be kind of careful with what we say on YouTube about the elections. But I almost feel like I feel better about Texas in regards to that, like
Bring
the
it
not
on.
being
I
able to
say
get
bring it
away with
on.
it, rather than Florida. And I feel like that might make the difference. But it feels like it's going to be close.
Bring it on. I would be thrilled to have either one of them be purple or blue.
Yeah.
And Spiritual Sean says, wait, petitions cannot vote. I'm sorry, that is not exactly what I meant. What I meant was citizens can't call for a vote. In Florida, people gathered signatures on a petition.
Hmm.
And when you get, and I guess that's also like that in your state too, you were saying, when you get a certain number of signatures, then that activates an automatic vote. You put something on the ballot.
On the ballot. Yeah.
Texas, you can't, ballot initiative. Texas, we cannot do that in Texas. It's against our constitution, which is surprising in a way because
Yeah.
Texas is
That's crazy.
supposedly, like, you're not going to tell me what to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. Well, guess what? Apparently, Texas citizens don't have the ability to do that. And I got that information from a guy I knew that ran for attorney general. So he should know,
Mhm.
better. So
So
anyway,
the only way something can be put on the ballot is if the,
through the Congress,
congressional people put it on it?
through
That's
our state
crazy,
Congress. It is crazy
crazy.
because the state is gerrymandered, so you don't have representation here.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
What's your, so we kinda talk about Texas and Florida. What's your thoughts on North Carolina?
I like it. It feels good to me. It
Yeah.
feels really, really good to me. And I want to talk about Maryland because that guy Hogan. So
Mhm.
there's two. If this is what I heard, you guys, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is very accurate. The guy Hogan, he's running for governor. He was, or he's running for
Running for
Senate. He
Senate.
was a governor, and he was the kind of governor that vetoed things coming out of his own state house, and the state house overrode him.
Mm.
The state house overrode his veto. That's the kind of governor he was. So anyway, this guy's running for Senate, and there's two Democrats running for Senate against him. There's a guy named Trone or something, and a woman. And you keep saying, I feel a
A
woman.
woman.
I feel a
Mhm.
woman. That's because this woman Democrat, we have to get behind her because the Democrat named Trone or something, Tron, something like that, that
Mhm.
guy said something completely racist.
Oh,
He's a
wow.
Democrat. And people called him out. And he goes, oh, my bad. My bad. I didn't know. I'm like, what are you talking about? You didn't know.
Mhm.
So we really need to really, really, really not get split because this is the Democrats here. Please don't get split in Maryland on these Democrats. Get behind the woman. Kevin's already seen her get energy. Get behind her. Let's get her in the Senate.
Yeah. I do think even though Maryland's a very blue state, that Hogan has a lot of resources, and so because of that, I
He
do
is.
think it's gonna
That's
be a
true.
close Senate race.
Yeah. Yeah,
But,
dude. It's got good name recognition. People don't remember,
yeah.
people don't remember, how he governed because the Senate, because the state house kept overriding him and good things kept happening to Maryland despite him. I think
Mhm.
he was overturned 2 or 3 times. That's incredible,
Yeah.
right? It's
I
incredible.
think, though, if I was going to have a Republican, I would probably want somebody like him in there, but let's keep Maryland blue like it should be. But I think it will be close, but I'm feeling more energy around the female. Um, so that will be, definitely one to donate to. But yeah, I feel really good about North Carolina going blue.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
and what they have, that crazy guy running for the governor's office. I don't see him winning.
Can you
I
believe
don't
it?
remember his name. I think that that's going to be crucial though to get
Wow.
Dems out and to flip the state. and I feel good about Arizona. I do feel a little like I feel like Georgia, out of all those states that Biden won last time, might be the one that if he were to lose the state, it feels like it would be that. But I almost feel like he's going to keep Georgia too. It feels like it's really close, though. Do you agree
I
with
think
all
so.
that?
I agree. I think Georgia is problematic, but I think that where we are now, where we're in early April, and
Hmm.
where we're going to be by September is like 3 years. You know what I mean? Like it's
Hmm.
a few months, but it's going to feel like 3 years because I think the wheels are going to come off of the Trump bus. The wheels are going to come off of the Freedom Caucus in the House. And I think that Biden's initiatives are going to be just knocking it out of the park one
Yeah.
after another. I think Biden is going to gain popularity. I know you said the same thing. I feel like this is the summer. It's like, when you want your
Mhm.
politician to kind of peak at the right time instead of
Yeah.
peaking too early, he's peaking at the right time. It's
Yeah.
like it's
I
perfect.
agree 100%. Summer, it feels like all of this big push and momentum. We're already starting to see it. You're seeing him doing fundraising and campaigning with Obama and Bill
Yeah.
Clinton. I think he just had something with Bernie Sanders, and I do see him really pushing with Bernie. And I even like I feel Taylor Swift endorsing him and getting people out to vote and excited.
Wow. That would be
So it's
huge.
like a big push to get young people out to vote and to kind of energize them.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I agree with you 100% on that, Susan. It feels like it's a landslide election. Like
Yeah.
I don't I f I love that, like, that Alabama congressional seat went to the Democrats in a Republican district by 25 points. I
Yeah.
don't think that it's going to be, like, competitive in red states for a presidential election where the
Right.
turnout's much higher, but I
Right.
do think that Democrats are gonna definitely outperform
We're gonna
for
outperform.
presidential election, yeah.
But it's like this, you guys. So if you think about momentum, we have momentum, that's for sure.
Mhm.
But what we want you guys to help with, and of course we will do it as well. Let's let's get behind and push this even further. So if we're gonna get plus 2 or 3 seats in the House, why not shoot for 6 or 7? Why
Yeah,
not do more text banking? Why not do more volunteering? Why not send everybody another $5? Why not see if we can't? This is our opportunity. This is a golden opportunity. The Republican Party is literally falling apart, as I predicted, as Kevin predicted. We've been predicting this. We've been seeing this. Now we're here. It's actually happening. Like another
which is
thing that
great
happened
too.
is how did that go down? So, I think the Republicans are getting so upset because so that Trump created a new entity called the Trump National Committee, the TNC.
Mm,
And he that's an actual committee, an actual business, whatever, LLC, whatever it is. And
okay.
then he made it so that it was going to be on top of the RNC. So the money comes to TNC and then
Mm,
it goes to the RNC and then the money goes down to whoever, right? That's the way it was last week. Today I hear they took the TNC and the RNC and they
you
merged
merged
them.
them?
So now there is no RNC. There is no RNC. It's just what the guides predicted a year ago. It is exactly. It's like it's scary, kind of. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
what is happening? So these Republicans that are down ballot, they got no money, they got no support,
Mhm.
and all the Democrats, any Democrat has a chance now, whereas before they may not have had a chance. They may not have had a
Yeah.
snowball's chance in Hades. Now they've got a pretty good chance.
Yeah, and I love that too, Susan. I agree 100%. They're not getting hardly any funding except for what they fundraise on their own. Trump is siphoning all the money, and it's not even like he's gonna have a big amount of money to put into the campaign because it's all going for his
No.
legal bills.
Yes.
Um, but I agree too. I think with the Democrats fundraising and how much they're getting and all the support, I do feel like money being pumped in Texas and Florida and states that probably Biden wouldn't have normally put money into because he wants to make sure that he secures, um, you know, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, those ones, making sure that that's where all the investments are. I think even Ohio, I feel like money getting put into those
Yeah.
big seats with the Senate races, um, that are a little bit more competitive now. I see a lot of money getting put into the Democratic candidates, so it's gonna be, really awesome.
It feels like they have extra money. Like you're
Yeah,
saying, like they put the money into the states that they know they can win, but they want to, really make sure. And they have extra money to put into places like Texas or like Florida or maybe even Louisiana or Alabama, which
mhm,
is amazing.
yeah, absolutely. But it's gonna be exciting, and I agree with you, we're seeing the Republican Party implode, we've both been predicting it,
We've both
and
seen
I'm
it.
just feeling like we're just starting to see it, but, like, wait till we get closer to the election because it's, like,
Yeah.
so explosive.
You
I
haven't seen anything yet.
I wonder your take on this because somebody asked me not my show yesterday, but I think last week, they wanted to do, like, a card for Trump and Biden and compare the 2 for, like, the next 6 months,
Yeah,
and
I remember
Trump
that.
had really awful cards, like,
Yeah.
he got the Tower for April, 10 of Swords for May. I know that this eclipse is gonna be exposing a lot, but, which do you get a sense of what this big tower moment is for Trump? Do you feel like it's the New York case, or do you feel like it's even more indictments coming out, or the health? We both see health issues too.
Sorry about my dog barking.
It's all right.
You know what? That's so interesting because I was going to kind of ask you the same question about.
Yeah.
So the New York case is the Alvin Bragg. You're talking about the Alvin Bragg case
Mhm.
that's supposed to be going live like in a week, like the 15th or the
I think
16th
they
of
start the
April.
jury selection then, so probably by the time it actually gets all up and going, it'll probably be end of April, beginning of May.
That's interesting. Okay, that thank you for that. That makes more
Mhm.
sense. He's going to unravel. What I just heard was he's going to unravel.
Yeah,
Um and I cannot for the life of me. We both have seen, I think, the same thing that either he, has a decompensation,
yeah,
probably on video, because nobody's going to believe it, and it would have to be worse than him just trailing off and babbling, like when he tried your video, hey, and then he
right.
and then he starts talking normally. It's aphasia. It's really weird. Um, but I think it has to be worse than that. I've often seen him having a kind of a violent thing, like throwing something, shoving somebody,
Mm,
grabbing somebody on video, which kind of shows his energy. You know what I mean? It
yeah,
wasn't like this. It was like, like that. Um, but my problem is I can't tell. I know he's out of the race. I know he's out of the race, but I can't tell if he crossed the three things are he crosses over, to the golden arches in the sky, or he is out of commission because mentally
right, his brain's fried.
his brain is fried, it's offline, or number 3, he has a health event that it's clear that he cannot run, that
Yeah,
he's on life support, right? It would have to be that bad. Um, but what's interesting is the guides always told me that he would either be out of commission before the first criminal case or by the end of the first criminal case. So now we're
interesting.
talking about probably June, mid
June, yeah,
June. And that's what I kept hearing was June, June, June.
mhm. Yeah, and I agree with you 100% on that, Susan. I don't know if the health event takes him out. I did ask the pendulum, I think yesterday, and I got a maybe, and then it went to no when I asked if he'd be out before the election, but it was like there's energy there still for that, but then I asked about, like, a health event, like a massive stroke or
Mm.
like I said, the brain being fried, short circuiting, and I got a maybe to a yes. So it feels like it's maybe the energy's a little bit more about like him being out of commission, um, which I think would kind of support what I'm feeling, and I think you said it too. It's like there's still a write-in effort for Trump,
Oh,
or
yeah.
Trump is still on there,
Yeah.
but a lot of people are voting for other people. Like it feels like the energy feels like there's a big uncertainty on the Republican nominee come the election.
Yes, I feel the same way. A write in effort. and the MAGAs are going to write in Trump. They're not going to
Mhm.
believe that he's out of commission. They have really magical thinking about a lot of things that is just beyond the pale. So yeah,
For me, somebody just said, and I'm gonna post it, which we're gonna talk about too. Maybe we can go into that afterwards. But where was it? Oh, maybe I didn't start.
we're not
No,
wishing him harm. We're simply reading the energy. I'm not wishing anybody any harm or any illness or anything at all. I've been known to wish for justice.
right.
um,
Somebody said that. Here it is. Cannon gets taken off the case as his tower moment. It feels bigger than that, but I agree. And me and Susan were talking about it before that we're starting to see Jack Smith. I do feel like he's going to try to get her taken off the case. We're going to hear about that here very soon.
yeah,
But it feels like
yeah.
it's even bigger, like there's more charges or something huge being exposed. It feels like it's a collective thing. So maybe it's the health, maybe it's you know, Cannon being taken off the case. But I almost feel like there's more charges coming too that are pretty explosive.
I think so too. There's a lot of things still brewing around the Truth Social we'll talk about in a second, but we
Mhm.
can talk about Cannon. So the funny thing about Cannon is we've both I haven't you also seen Cannon getting taken off the case?
Absolutely. I feel
Because I
males
feel like we
taking
saw
over.
this independently, and
Mhm.
then we started doing videos together, and we didn't know that we each had read this, but we had read
Yeah.
this. So then the other about a week ago, they woke me up and said mandamus, which is basically writ of mandamus. I should look at my um, phone and see when they told me that. And that is basically taking her off the case. Um,
Yeah.
so
I almost feel like by like early summer, maybe around June, she's off. I don't know how long it would take for them to hear the case, and maybe
mhm.
it's May or June, but I do
Yeah,
feel like all of the then it kinda goes back to stage 1, and we have to put another judge in, and so it's gonna definitely delay until after the election, I feel. Even though I feel like that is the most damaging case against Trump. But I'm almost wondering too if these additional charges are maybe looking for more documents or evidence coming out about him selling documents. And we'll get into it in a little bit too, but even like that dark money channel with foreign adversaries.
right,
It feels
right.
like it's huge.
No,
Something
there's
big is about to come.
you guys, even today alone, there was so much news that came out, and we are a good week. We're less than a week from the solar eclipse, and the
Mhm.
solar eclipse energy goes for months. So the thing that's very interesting about Cannon is that Jack Smith had until last night at like midnight to respond to her. And he had like a long time and he wasn't responding. So,
Mm.
the reporters are all staying up late to get his response. And I'm not an attorney, but I read the response and I was like, I think he just lit this woman up. He basically said, these jury instructions that you're instructing us to use for our jury are illegal.
Mm.
They're illegal. You're
Yeah.
presupposing that Trump had the ability to, declassify these documents with his head or something. This is illegal. Number one. Number two, you need to rule on this immediately so that we have time to do what we need to do. Number three, if you don't do that, we're taking you to, the higher court for writ of mandamus to be removed. Now, it
Mhm.
turns out that there's some other options. Like another option would be he could take her to the higher court. The higher court agrees to hear it. And then apparently, and this is fascinating too, right?
Mhm.
If the higher court agrees to this version, Judge Cannon, goes to the higher court and Jack Smith gets to be the prosecutor and cross examine her as to why she thinks this is legal in front of the
Jack
court.
Smith would eat her alive.
Jack
I would
Smith gets
love
to
it.
prosecute her. Oh my God. It's like, I swear to God. So then the other option is she says, oh, my bad. Let me rewrite it and get. But he's ready to take her out. And
Mhm.
I wonder, my question for you is,
Yeah.
and I think people have posited this question to us in the past, is that I've always seen her having a golden parachute. I've always seen her getting out of she gets out. It's a lifetime appointment, but I've seen her getting out of this situation and having a very cushy, very well paid job in private sector. Judges don't make that much money. She could go to the private sector and make 3, 4 times as much. My question to you is she just pushing this to the limit to do as much damage as she can to our judicial system, to make Americans feel like the judicial system is broken on both sides, the Trumpers and everybody else, and to give Trump as much leeway as she can? Is she trying to do as much damage as she can, knowing full well that she's either going to step down or be thrown off and walk into this beautiful situation? I mean, is it that calculated?
I don't know if she's I don't know if she's that intelligent to be quite that strategic with it. I
But what
do
about her handlers?
Mhm. I do feel like it's all to delay things, and I've always felt like there's a connection or a conversation between her and Trump before this whole thing even started.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
I think I heard Linda G say that he promised her a Supreme Court,
Oh, right. Right.
nomination if one came up, and that totally resonates with me.
Yeah.
There's there is some kind of bribe there. "Delay this for me," or
Allegedly.
allegedly, thank you, for entertainment purposes only.
Yep.
But,
Yep.
you delay this for me or you throw the case out for me and I'll reward you. It's kind of my feeling about it. I do agree though, she definitely is a bit of like that puppet, and there's
Yeah.
definitely
Puppet
people
energy.
above her directing her. But I don't know. I do feel like maybe there would be something cushy for her if she succeeds with it. But if can you imagine, do you think Trump is going to
No.
give her some kind of connection to
No.
private sector if
No.
she fails or she's removed off the
No, but
case?
I don't think it's Trump that's given her the connection. I
Like it's
think it's the
somebody else.
Federalist Society.
Could be.
I mean, think
Regardless
about
though.
it. She's done a
Mhm.
lot of favors. She's done a lot of delays. She's really mucked it up. She's done her job. She's done a great
Yeah,
job. Yeah.
absolutely, but like I said, I feel like Jack Smith has already went to the appeals court twice, and I think he's been writing everything down that's, like, been
I agree.
unfair or improper or, um, makes it seem like, she doesn't, know what she's doing, and so when he takes the case, it's like, "Okay, there's more than enough evidence here." It's like 3 strikes, you're out is kind of my
Yes.
feeling.
Yes, I agree. I 100%. The guide said he's letting her build her case against herself. He's just
Mhm,
recording all of her nonsense. And then it's going to be a pretty cut and dry deal when he gets before the upper courts.
mhm.
So it should be interesting. But at least one commentator said Jack Smith took a flamethrower to her court.
I would love to see Jack Smith prosecute her.
I would love that. Oh,
She
pay
wouldn't know
per
what to
view.
do.
Pay per view.
Pay-per-view. We would all
The
pay for that,
Democrats can make some bank on that.
right? You know what, though? I did just get a hit when we were talking about Trump and, the eclipse and this April Tower moment, and somebody just brought it up, are we closer to people in Congress being indicted? And I feel like that's a part of it as well in April. I don't know, like I said, I've always felt like it's groups of indictments, like there might be a congressperson or 2 in the first indictment, and then it kind of gets bigger and bigger, but, but I do feel more indictments with those that helped Trump plan the January 6th. What is it? The co-conspirators. I feel indictments for those coming soon.
I do too.
I don't know if it's April. It might be May, but it feels soon, within the next month or two. I'd say.
Yep. I agree. And June, I don't know. June is another one of those months. Like, remember last year, people would ask us this question. We'd say March and April. My answer to everything was March and April of 2024. Here we are. There's a lot going on. And now I feel like my answer to everybody is June. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Um, May, June. I mean, all those things
And then
are.
August and September feel
And then
huge too.
August is September, right? Exactly. Like we have July is kind of like deadlock. The energy feels deadlock, like nobody's getting the upper hand.
Mhm.
And then August and September,
It's
smackdown.
gonna be crazy. Get your
It's gonna be
popcorn ready,
crazy.
everyone. We've been saying, right?
Yep, yep. We're here, guys. Things are really happening.
I feel bad. In like a week and a half, I go on my trip, which I'm looking forward to. But that's when the hush money case starts, and I feel like there's so much big stuff even coming out in
Are you
April,
gonna be able to
especially.
relax? You're gonna be on the phone. You drive.
No,
I gotta look
I'm
at I
taking a
gotta
break.
look at all the stuff happening.
If I get hits, I'll probably post it on my community board, but
Why not?
um,
Yeah, you might
do
do a
something.
little video on the side of the road somewhere.
We'll see. But yeah, a lot of stuff coming up. All right. Where do we want to go next? I have some questions start here.
And there are some great questions in the chat too. Like, wow.
And I just want to say, I forgot to say it when we started. Marie Olga sent a super sticker. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. This is a good one. I think we looked at it before we went live. Do you see? There's a lot of pressure, or there's starting to be pressure to have Sotomayor retire early because she has what is it? She had diabetes,
I don't know
and
why.
they're concerned. They're like comparing her to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, which I don't even think is
No.
comparable. Ruth was quite a bit older and had a lot more serious health issues. But I feel like there's pressure about it. We
But
were
why?
talking. You were saying somebody um, that you read with saw that maybe she would step down, but I don't see her stepping down because of her health, um, or because of the pressure. I mean,
No,
I don't see it right now.
I don't see it, but I gotta tell you guys, this energy, I mean, it can hit anybody, right?
Mhm.
And so she could have a health issue that we don't know about that could become known. Um,
Yeah,
but I don't know. I didn't hear people were pressuring her to retire. That's not something that I've heard. I mean, my God, yeah, she has type 1 diabetes. Is she how old is she? Does anybody know? She's not like 90. She's not even
right.
like 80, right? She's probably like 65.
I would say, yeah, something like that. I
I
don't
mean,
know
she's
how old she
young.
is off the top of my head, but I don't know if I see her on the court for like years and years to come, but I don't see her retiring right now.
I don't yeah, no. 60 something seascape says. Do you
Mhm.
see here's a good question for you. Do you see next year cuz I think it's a different energy next year,
Mhm.
2025. Do you see Biden expanding the Supreme Court?
I definitely feel like there's energy around that where it could be a strong possibility.
I do too.
I see it
70,
shifting from a
70.
conservative court into a more liberal court, whether
Yes.
that's other justices retiring. I still feel Clarence Thomas out, and I think even before the election. Um, I think it's gonna be close to the election, maybe September, October, but, I still if not, he's out just after the election, but I see him out, and I feel a couple more being replaced.
Perfect. So Sharon says her family is pressuring her to retire. Okay.
I heard
Okay.
that there were some I don't know if they were outright saying retire, but I feel like there's talks in the Democratic Party in the House and the Senate
I
kind of
hate that. That's
worried
ridiculous.
about like a similar situation with that happened with Ruth. But I don't
Okay.
see it like that at all, and I don't see her really.
I don't see it like that. But I do, but there is energy around her
Mhm.
stepping down for an illness, but I don't see it right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you
Like I
get
said, I feel
anything
like
on
a couple
Amy
conservatives leaving first.
that okay, yeah. So do you see anything on Amy Coney Barrett? Sometimes
I
I
think
see her getting some kind of medical diagnosis and leaving, and then other times I don't. I don't understand why it's changing.
I think she's in there for a little bit longer, but I actually kind of feel like as others go down, and are starting to be replaced, I'm not a fan of her views or anything, but I see her being a little bit more moderate rather than the extreme.
Yeah,
So maybe she hangs in there for a while longer. I don't think she's in the Supreme Court for 10 or 20 years. I don't see that. But
I
I
don't
think she
see
might
that
be in
either.
there for like 5 years,
Five,
6
five
years.
years. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it that could change because this energy is bonkers, bonkers.
Mhm. But I definitely see that there's added pressure to start expanding the court.
Yeah,
Um, Mhm.
And I think Biden's gonna be on I think he's on board with it now. I think,
Mhm.
he had apparently gotten a group like a focus or some kind of committee to look into it, and their recommendation was not to, but I think definitely he's going to be doing that next year.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It feels like it's a bit of a tightrope, just like the filibuster. You know how before he was all about
Yes,
getting, like, a bipartisan support,
yes,
wasn't willing to kinda push it
yes,
quite far enough to push for the filibuster to be removed.
yeah,
Um, Manchin and Sinema wouldn't have voted for it anyway at the time, but I
yeah,
feel like
that's
the
true.
filibuster rule is being changed too, so
I do
maybe
too.
it's a talking filibuster, or maybe they get rid of it altogether, but I
Yes,
actually feel like they're actually able to get quite a bit done with the rules change,
I think so too.
and I think that's gonna be one of the first things they do in 2025.
Yeah, I think so too. They
Mhm.
better come out with their sneakers on and get ready to really get busy.
Yeah. I just wanna say thank you real quick. We got a Becky sent a super chat. "You don't poop no reason drug." I think she was talking about Trump and him with the stroke
Diarrhea
and
or
all of
something, yeah.
Gladfly, thank you so much. Jazzy, Sophie, and Robin, thank you all so much for the super stickers and chats. Really appreciate it. All right. Do you want to talk about? We have 1350 watching.
Woo-hoo. Thanks
So I
for
feel like we
joining us,
have
everybody.
yeah. Make sure to hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe. Go over to Susan's channel and subscribe. Um,
Thank you.
do you want to talk about what we were talking about beforehand with True Social and what you
Yeah.
were hearing with that? Let's talk about that.
Check this out, you guys. And I got this. I really, really like this woman. Her name is Elizabeth uh ECM, we call her. And she has a YouTube channel called Resistance Live, and she does a video every day at 11. And she's a former New York prosecutor. But anyway, I just get so much information out of her every day.
Hmm.
She is super fat. She's a prosecutor. She's still an attorney. She only, you know, she only traffics in the facts. So apparently, Trump's True Social needed an influx of money last month before he could take it public because
Hmm.
he's been losing money. It's been a losing thing. He needed an infusion of money. So he went to this. It turns out that he got a bunch of cash from this family trust. The family trust turns out is an Russian oligarch
Shocker.
who, who got his money through porn and through a bank in the Dominican Republic, which they couldn't take the money from the Dominican Republic bank because that bank is being investigated for money laundering. So it had to go from the Dominican Republic to this family trust, who's an oligarch, who, guess what, has connections to Putin. Trump got this money last month. That's what made it possible for Truth Social to go public. And all of this is already being investigated. It's already being investigated as money laundering. And what the guy said was, yeah, he's going to get money. He is going to get money. But this money that he gets is going to be tainted. It's going to end up being like his worst nightmare. That's what they said. This money is going
Mhm.
to be his worst nightmare. So, yeah, here it is. He's getting money, but it's turning around and getting him in deeper and deeper in trouble. And you had said you saw more charges coming. This is potentially some more charges as well.
Yeah. And also too, I keep on getting, and I think it's bigger than just Trump, but maybe it's part of this hit, the dark money channels being exposed with our adversaries and all of the dark money that funds a lot of the Republican Party and some Democrats too. But I see I see it being huge before the election.
The exposure of it, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we've already started to see it. Well, with like a lot of the billionaires in the Supreme Court, but it's really like there's a lot of like really ucky, nasty energy kind of coming out with um, adversaries buying our politicians. It's going to be huge.
It's gonna be huge.
I
And,
love it
uh,
though.
there was something about, um so here's another good story that I got
Mhm.
from ECM. George Conway. George Conway was, what's her name? Conway's husband. And he was
Yeah.
a big Republican, pollster, a fundraiser. He was involved in the Federalist Society. And he is slowly, I think he got a divorce from Kellyanne.
Mhm.
And he's
Yeah.
slowly sort of like kind of been doing a Liz Cheney. He's slowly kind of drifting away from Trump. So guess what he just announced? He is donating the maximum amount of money that you can to Biden, over
I love it.
$900,000
Oh,
out of his
wow.
pocket, $900,000. Not only is he doing that, he's going to be assembling other Republicans. He's going to go to other moneyed Republicans and get them to sign up to help Biden. That's a big deal because Biden is going to raise their taxes. They have no reason to vote for Biden other
Mhm.
than they don't want to speak Russian,
Right.
you know? But this
Well,
is
and
a
they
big
wanna cut
deal,
the
you
cancer
guys.
out of
This
the
is
party too. They wanna cut all of the MAGA crap out of the party. They're still conservatives, and I don't know if I
that's right.
fully would trust them. What group is it that they call with all the ads of all the Republicans? I can't think of the name, but I think Conway was a part of it, or he is.
Is it Lincoln Project?
Lincoln Project, yeah.
Lincoln Project. Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like them actually kind of raising a lot of money for Biden, so maybe that's what you're picking up there too.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
925,000 Rose Blue said. But not only that, he's literally going to go out and hit up all these wealthy Republicans and say, "Come on, y'all. We need to save our democracy." In
Mhm.
28, you can go back to being whoever you are. Right now, it's all hands on deck. You guys have got to do the right thing. So this is big, you guys. This is really the pendulum is starting to swing from crazy land a little bit more into not so crazy land.
Yeah. And you're starting to see that, and I don't trust the polling, but you're actually starting to see the polling
I
kinda
know.
come back to the
It's
middle,
true.
especially since Biden's, State of the Union address.
That's
I
true.
don't trust the polling still. I think a lot of money is kind of put into that to skew it, and we're seeing very much different results from the actual voting and all of these special elections and, um, you know, midterm elections where Democrats aren't normally motivated to go and vote. We're seeing them coming out in droves um, because
And
of,
women.
yeah.
And the Republicans are still saying the craziest things about women. I mean,
Mm,
it's like, are you never mind, keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing it.
exactly. Let them
Keep
keep
doing
doing
it.
it.
Yeah, because oh my God. And Biden keeps coming out with these ads that are pro women. Did you
Mhm.
hear what this Republican said about you? Let me tell you. Biden is killing it, man.
When I
He hired
loved it
all
at
those
the state of,
20-year-olds.
uh-huh. I loved it at the State of the Union when they called out the justices to their face. I think that
Yes,
was my favorite moment of it.
yes.
I just want to say thank you um, to Bebo,
Aw, cute baby.
Kathy Rollins. Thank you so much. We're in Rose Blue. Really appreciate the super chats, you guys.
Awesome.
Um, but yeah, that's I hadn't heard of all of the details kind of going into, getting True Social online and all of that. But I think it's really interesting um, that it's already dropped like 30% in its shares. And I also feel like as Trump, it's being investigated, so maybe it's frozen. But I feel like he's not going to have access to that money before the election
I
either.
don't think he's I swear, when you said it earlier, it might have been before we went live, we were chatting.
Hmm.
When you said something about it earlier, I heard frozen. So,
Yeah,
if this account is already being investigated because of a Russian oligarch and Dominican bank that's, connected to money laundering and porn, uh, when this money is released, it might be frozen. And a pump and dump.
yeah.
It really is. They pumped it up and they're dumping it right now. And that is illegal. And
Hmm.
I think it's gonna be discovered.
I even feel like he would have to apply to get the money out. And if he was going to take his shares out of it, I almost feel like everybody kind of taking their money out before you'd even have access to it. But Frozen actually really resonates with me too, Susan. So he won't
But,
have access to it.
when it first launched, it went up pretty high. Now that money somebody made money. Okay. When it
Mhm.
first launched and you saw that graph go up to the top and then come down and then go up to the top again, somebody made money. So people made money there, but now the poor saps that are holding it are going to lose everything.
Yeah,
Well, William,
absolutely.
that's a great question, Sharon.
I felt yes as soon as I read it. I feel like 10,000,000
Nice.
or around 10,000,000 votes.
Y'all, we got to get busy though. We got to get busy. We
Uh,
got to really support these people.
the only thing with it though too is I wish that, and I understand why Biden doesn't put all of that investment right now into like Florida and Texas and some of the
Yeah.
red states because you need to secure up your defenses. But but I do feel like a big push like August, September for some of those states. Like I said, I
Yeah.
feel like if it was a little bit sooner, I think they'd definitely be blue. But I do feel like the January 6th, I think woke a lot of people up that were Republicans, and then the Roe v. Wade. Um, so I feel like it might be about 10,000,000 extra votes for Biden over Trump or whoever the Republican is.
The beauty of it is you go into that booth yourself. And if you're a
Mhm.
grandma or you're a mom or you're a woman, or if you're a dad that cares about your daughter or, a granddad, you're going to hold your nose and vote for Biden. You're
Yeah,
you're not going you can't we can all see where this crazy, bus is going that Trump is driving. And I think people are going to be voting their conscience and not what they say to the poll worker.
right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's a good point too. Um, and I think you're even seeing that when there's like reporters out at when people are actually voting and they're asking all these questions. It's like they're there with family or friends and they're kind of pressured to kind of,
Yeah.
but they're voting different than what they're
They're
talking
voting
about.
different than they're telling their, especially if
Mhm.
you're a woman, you're married to a MAGA person, you're not going to tell them. Come on now, us women, we know you come home with all those shopping bags. You don't tell nobody about them shopping bags. You just go
Right.
right on into your bedroom and put them in the closet.
Well, it's the same thing too with women with Republican or even Republican women that are have Republican husbands. Sure, maybe
Yeah.
they're talking about it at home, but the Roe v. Wade is very personal for a lot of women, and
It's
I see
it's
a
life
lot of
and
them
death.
voting
It's life
differently
and
because
death.
of it. Absolutely,
It's it's not even a
it's
choice anymore.
crazy.
It's a health concern. It's not even a lifestyle choice or whatever. It's really life and
Mhm.
death in many cases.
Absolutely, and you know what? I find it interesting too. Did you see? Well, with Florida, I think in like 30 days, their abortion ban goes from like 14 or 15 weeks to 6 weeks. And
Yes.
I heard reporters trying to pressure Trump to see where he stood, and he did one of those. Oh, I'm going to talk about it next week. Well, I don't think we'll hear about it next week. Do you?
No. No.
Because Trump knows it's very unpopular. But I think behind the scenes he brags about it, or to donors. But I don't know if I see him talking about abortion. Um, during his speeches or
He
rallies or
doesn't.
whatever.
No. I mean, he's come out in favor of it enough that Biden uses it against him,
Mhm.
you know?
Oh, yeah, he's got, like, a track record that
Yeah.
Biden can put in
Yes.
ads and all of that.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
This is a good question, and I wanted to talk about Israel a little bit, Susan. Christian says people are protesting in Israel because of Netanyahu's mishandling the war. Do you see a military coup to remove Netanyahu? I don't see a military coup against him, but I do see more continued protests and that energy really kind of expanding to get him out. I almost feel like they're going to have a special election early, and I actually feel like Netanyahu may be out like probably within the next few months, like the summer, it really kind of resonates with me. Um,
Yeah.
you know, I did I don't think it came directly from Netanyahu, but those aid workers that were bombed, I did feel like that was probably intentional. Is just my first feeling. It's
Why in
disgusting.
God's name would you do that? You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I think their latest excuse, if I'm not mistaken, is that they saw somebody that they thought was a terrorist come out of the food warehouse and get in the car.
Mhm.
I think that's their latest
That's
excuse.
their excuse, yeah. But it's because they don't want these people, the Palestinians, to have any resources
They
or
wanna
food.
wipe them
I mean, they're
off.
all
They wanna wipe them off,
exactly.
and it's
It's
wrong.
disgusting.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say, I love Israel. I love Jewish people. This has got nothing to do with you. It's got everything to do with Netanyahu. I believe
Mhm.
Netanyahu is what Trump would be if we had Trump.
Yeah.
He would not. He's said as much, right? He would annihilate whoever, gays, Mexicans, anybody he doesn't like, black people, he doesn't care. He would just round them all up and get rid of them.
Mhm.
This is really fascist energy,
Oh,
sadly.
absolutely. Absolutely.
But
But
I
I
think
do
that there's going to be so much pressure, and not only from Israelis, but
Mhm.
pressure from Americans, because
Absolutely.
Biden is going to have a really hard time winning if he doesn't do something really quick and really strong about this. This is the American people are starting to do a 180 on Israel.
Oh,
That is not
absolutely.
good. I mean, I'm not talking about Palestinians. I'm talking about the American people are starting
Mhm.
to say no. My spirit guides have been saying for a year now, people don't want war. They're against violence. The Republicans are against it. The Democrats are against it. Everybody's against it.
Yeah. I think we both said that Netanyahu would do something extreme, and I even said in my 2024 predictions, like, I felt like massive protests everywhere, like, worldwide, but especially with Israel. I do kind of feel like they may be able to see that it wasn't a mistake, or, um, I feel like more information kinda coming out about this, but Lisa says that, that we said Netanyahu would do something horrible that would finish him, and I feel like this was a part of it, but I even feel like there might be even a little bit more. I
No, it's
agree
going to
with
be
you,
more.
though. Yeah, I
He's
agree with
like
you, though,
Trump.
too.
He
Mhm.
pushes it to the limit. He's going to push it to the limit until somebody says stop. They're
Yeah.
bullies. It's Putin. They're not
Well,
going
he
to
doesn't wanna
stop
go to
on their
jail, so
own.
it's
Somebody has to
anything
stop
to
them.
he doesn't wanna go to jail, so it's anything to keep him in power for as long as possible, right? To keep him in there. But I agree with you, I do see Biden really kind of stepping up to the plate,
He
and I
is.
don't know
Man.
if it goes with, sending military aid to Israel or something like that, but I almost feel like Netanyahu's gonna cross that line, and Biden's gonna really kinda have to
He
stand up
has to.
against him.
He has
Yeah.
to. Biden was caught on a hot mic on the State of the Union address night telling somebody, Bibi and I are about to have a come to Jesus meeting. That's what Biden
Mhm.
said. But however, I saw Kirby, is it John Kirby? Whoever, I don't know who that
Yeah.
guy is. He's in the cabinet. He said the most asinine things to a White House reporter's, briefing. And I thought, Biden needs to fire him. He was bad.
Mm.
It was bad. It was like, it was stomach churning bad. So Biden's got some work to do. Um,
Susan says Biden is scheduled to talk to him tomorrow. Interesting. I feel like it's coming very soon.
It's coming to a head. I'm telling you, Biden is going to do something really, really important, like withhold aid, put sanctions on. Can you imagine us sanctioning Israel?
I could
Just
see it,
imagine
though.
that. This is the energy, you guys. Whatever you think is impossible, even in your own life, whatever you think that's never going to happen, the energy suggests anything can happen.
Well, and do you think that that's going to make a difference, to especially to a lot of these, younger voters who are upset with Biden right now? Um, I feel
Yes.
like it does make
Yeah.
a difference, like a strong stance against Netanyahu because of all of these war crimes that he's doing, um, and him really kind of getting vocal and standing up to him. I don't know if it makes a difference for everybody, but I think a good amount of the younger voters, or, um, you know, Palestinian voters, I see it making some inroads there.
Jamie, don't take my word for it. Go watch the John Kirby. I think it was yesterday, the day before. Don't
Mhm.
take my word for it. You guys, please go make your own decisions. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I agree with you. I feel like if anybody can do it, it's Biden. He's the one that can do it. And I feel like something gets worked out with Jordan, I'm hearing. Possibly, of course, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar. But I feel like if Biden can get kind of an endorsement, you know what I mean? If he can get a ceasefire and then he can get these people some
Yeah.
safety, everyone needs safety, not just the Israelis, the Palestinians, everyone needs safety. Everybody needs a ceasefire and safety. If he can do that, and then he could get more help from the Arab states, then I think that he can get kind of an endorsement from some Arab state. And then I think that's going to click.
Oh,
That's going to
yeah.
make the difference in everybody.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about too. I think that that's what he's going to push for. Like, we're not giving Israel any funding or
It
military
might get
equipment
that bad.
until there's a ceasefire, and they work on getting some of those hostages back, and but also making it safe for all the refugees. Not just going in there and dropping all these big bombs and targeting um, refugees and all of that too. It's just awful what's going on over there.
Look, it's not me, guys. It's not me. Go look at what the world is saying about this.
Hmm.
This is not tenable. And what I always saw with the spirit guides, look, I have videos on this. You can go watch my video. I predicted this. I said Israel was going to lose their temper and have a blackout moment where they do something so egregious, so over the top that, have you ever seen somebody that blacks out and loses their temper? And then when they come
Hmm.
to and they see the destruction and they're in disbelief of their own actions, that's what I see happening. And I said that in a video. They're going to wake up, sort of come to their senses and go, my God, what have I done? But it's too late by then.
Yeah.
So, this has got to turn around. Do you think he's going to be charged with a war crime, Netanyahu?
I definitely feel energy around that. It'd definitely be investigations for war crimes, I feel.
I know.
I don't know about charges. I don't know if it resonates the strongest, but it definitely will be investigated. But he's in
I think
trouble
it's going to
because
be
of other
investigated.
things too. I'm not sure exactly what legal trouble he's in. I know that he's staying in that position so that he
Yeah,
doesn't go to jail. So I
that's right.
almost wonder maybe he
He's
gets.
just like Trump.
Yeah,
He pulled off what Trump tried to do. He's in a leadership position, so he's protected. Um, I don't feel like his health is very good.
yeah, I agree. Do you feel like it's
I
heart
don't,
related?
yeah, I think heart and bowel. I don't think his health is very good, and this is
Mhm.
an incredibly stressful thing, right? Right, that he's going through. So, um,
I feel like he's
yeah.
gonna get some jail time though. I don't think the health will. I think
Do
actually
you
I think
think
he'll.
so?
Hmm.
I'm telling you, the Israeli people are going to stand up. They're gonna rise up, and they're gonna slap this guy down.
Yeah.
I mean, they
And I
really
agree with
are.
Kathy here. She
And
says
then
the
we have,
Israeli cabinet will call for an election very soon. That's what I'm feeling, like
yeah,
this summer.
I agree. I agree. And then what has to happen is the ceasefire is fragile, right? That's a very fragile time, and you have people that want this to be a problem, like Russia. When this broke out, Russia all of a sudden was able to get the United States to stop supporting Ukraine. Before this thing broke out, before they were attacked, Israel was attacked. The United States was 100% behind Ukraine. This attack on Israel is fomented also by Russia. So you
Mhm.
have this ceasefire. It's very fragile, and there are bad actors that want this to fail. So
Absolutely.
we need people like Netanyahu out of there and put cooler heads in there, people that really want peace, and then bring in the UN, bring in people to really, really police the ceasefire.
Yeah. And my guides had told me too, and I put it in my 2024 predictions, that this all of this conflict in the Middle East was gonna bubble up to a point where it seemed like it may actually be another world war coming
Yes,
in,
please.
but
Yeah.
we would avoid it. But
Yes.
just barely get by it.
And
Um,
this is exactly where we are.
yeah.
And I do see a two-state solution. The only way this is going to work is that we separate these two peoples. And the way I see it is one border, north and south. Um, but even during the ceasefire, I really feel like we need to separate everybody. Really
Mhm.
separate. The Palestinians need to feel safe. The Israelis need to feel safe. And keep going after Hamas.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And right now, Israel is bombing Syria.
Yeah, and they
So,
just took
you
out
know,
and they just pissed off Iran too, didn't they
this
take
is
out.
not good. Because
Yeah.
they bombed Iran's consulate.
Mhm.
We can't. This Israel is kind of acting kind of crazy, y'all. I'm serious. They're acting crazy.
Yeah. Like I
And they've
said,
got
and
a
maybe
lot of weapons and a lot of power. And somebody said United States is still selling them weapons. I don't know if this is true, but one of the Republicans said, or maybe it was John Kirby, I'm not sure who said it. Somebody said these defense contracts take 5 years, 10 years to fulfill. This is
mm,
we're delivering weapons today that were ordered, years and years ago. It takes a long time to procure and to create. It's not like you place an order and you get your order tomorrow. So, yes, we are giving them weapons, but they're old contracts. Now, can Biden pause that? What do you think? Do you think Biden can say, we don't care what you bought in the past, but we're not sending you anymore?
I don't know if I feel like it's a total pause with it, and I think a lot of it has to do, like, with intelligence and defense for Israel, um, is where a lot of those, deals are from. But I agree, like, I feel like there's a big push to either sanction or even, not give, a whole like, everything that they're giving. Like, they're getting all of these fighter jets
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
massive bombs that, you know, e destroy multiple larger areas, and I almost wonder if, like, that kinda stuff gets stopped, but, I don't know if I feel like they totally cut them off. I don't feel that. But there's repercussions, I feel, and pretty severe and strong ones.
Yeah. It's coming, guys. It's coming. It's not tenable.
Mm, absolutely. What do you get a feeling about, I read on it yesterday. Do you get a feeling about more hostages being released, or do you feel that there's a lot of hostages still alive? I feel like there's some, but a
There's
lot
some,
of
but
them, I think a lot of them that I think they're saying that they have like 100 hostages. It doesn't feel like that many are alive. Like maybe 20 or 30. Like so it feels significantly less.
I got 20 to 30, but I think it might be down to 15. The other thing the guides are saying is, well, if Palestinians don't have water, they don't have food,
Mhm.
the hostages don't have water, and they don't have food
Exactly.
either. So, um, and if you think those people are going to give the hostages food first, if there's no food, um, this you guys, we have not begun to see what's really happened there yet. Israel just kicked out they kicked out Al Jazeera, which is a really respected journalism, uh, paper media
Mhm.
outlet. It's a very respected media outlet. It is no joke. It is very, very, it's just right up there with our biggest media outlets. And Israel just kicked them out. So Israel is
Wow.
again trying to cover up everything that's going on there, but we're going to see it. We're going to see it. The world is going to see it. And I just don't know. I can't wrap my head around how this is happening. I
Yeah.
can't.
Unfortunately, too, I feel like Hamas will probably blame Israel and say a lot of the hostages died with all of their
I'm sure they
bombing.
will. And Hamas, look, Hamas is using the Palestinians as fodder.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
think Palestinians are Hamas at all. So the Palestinians are victims here too. Um,
Absolutely.
so it's a very convoluted, crazy situation, and we need a ceasefire to figure out what's what. Just this author, BB is very authoritarian. He's very much an eye for an eye. And
Yeah.
what do you feel like right now? When I keep talking, I just keep seeing Saudi Arabia and Jordan and Qatar and Egypt. What do you think those countries think about what's going on?
With, Israel and all that, I actually feel like a lot of them are kind of turning on Israel. And I don't know how close all of the alliances were. I know that Saudi Arabia and Israel were kind of working on bettering their
Trying.
relationship. They were trying to, but I see a lot of them kind of turning away as until at least Netanyahu's out of the picture.
Look, I'm sorry, Suzanne, if you think I sound like an Israel hater, I am so sorry. I can just tell you right now, I don't hate Israel. You're just gonna take my
Yeah.
word for it. My opinion. And it's uh it's not right. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. So maybe we should change the subject.
Okay. It's a very tricky
It's a
subject.
triggered
We're
subject.
pro-Palestinian and pro-Israel. Israel has a right to defend themselves. We're anti-Netanyahu. Um, but obviously, we're so compassionate and really care and sending a lot of protection and healing energy for all of the people that are being displaced and starving and Palestine too, or Gaza.
Yeah.
Susan, I was going to say, what do you feel about um, the Ukraine aid? Do you feel Ukraine aid getting passed soon? And then kind of we can tie that into Mike Johnson and um, the speaker. And I feel more Republicans leaving the House too. So it feels like there's a lot of energy around that too. But what do you feel about Ukraine aid being passed sooner rather than later?
I gotta say that I'm thrilled that every country, regardless how small, is like God bless Japan. They just went through that horrible earthquake and they just gave all this aid to Ukraine, right? I
Mm,
mean, I'm thrilled that everybody is standing together and trying to help Ukraine, even though it may be not enough, but it really what it's doing is it's bringing the world together against the bullies.
mm,
And that's important because we have China talking, you know, really more and more and more about invading Taiwan. So we really need to understand as a whole world who's on whose side, who's coming to whose aid. So I'm happy with that the world is trying to help Ukraine. Also, I just want to say that Ukraine is going into Russia and bombing because the United States is not giving them aid, and
yeah,
therefore they don't have to listen to anybody.
they're going after their oil refineries and their
They're
power.
yes,
Mhm,
yes, they are, and with cheap drones,
mhm,
or not cheap drones, but not elaborate, not not big fighter jets, right? So Ukraine is like scrappy. They're like, we're going to fight for our lives. We're going to do what we can. As far as like the United States getting our act together and giving Ukraine, I feel like we are going to give Ukraine money.
mhm.
And I feel like, did you say this? I feel like Johnson is going to vote for it.
Oh, you think Johnson's going to? I was feeling like they had to go around Johnson. I almost felt like I feel like there's been talks about because obviously MTG filed the motion to vacate. I think she still has to bring it on the floor to vote, which she hasn't done yet. I think they're on
He hasn't done
recess.
it yet.
But she's doing that as a clear threat that if you pass any Ukraine funding, we will remove you. And I do feel like maybe he's had some conversations with Democrats to see if like they would save him if that was the case. But I also almost feel like at the very end of the line, like he doesn't make a deal with Democrats because I see him out sooner rather
I've
than
seen
later.
him out too.
I think
I
actually very well could be like towards the end of this month, early May. I see him out.
It's
But I
too
do,
little, too late. The guides are saying it's too little, too late. He
yeah.
wants to make a deal with the Dems. I don't think anybody likes him. But so you see Ukraine coming through, money
I
coming
still see
through.
it coming through,
Either
but
they
I
go
wonder
around him or he's
to
out.
bring it on the floor vote. And I always forget what the procedure's called.
Yeah,
Um,
me too. I don't know.
I can never remember. I know
Yeah,
that
it
they've
has
already
a name,
worked
a
on it,
technical name.
but I do think that I don't think that they're quite there yet with enough signatures to bring it on the floor vote, but I feel like they're going to get there.
Yeah. I do too. I think we're going to get Ukraine aid. So you see
Discharge
Johnson
petition.
going out by discharge. Thank you, Wiki. You see Johnson going out in the next 2
I think he
months,
might be out April. I actually think he might be out at the end of the month.
weeks, mere weeks away.
We're
Now,
weeks
who do
away.
you see replacing him? I've seen him going, and I've also seen Jeffries taking over the speakership before the election. I think you've also
Right?
seen that.
I feel like it's a bit of a stalemate. like we're gonna kind of go back to what happened with McCarthy was ousted and
Oh,
they
okay.
couldn't find a speaker. And then it gets to a
Wow.
point too where like some of the more moderate Republicans are like, this is crazy. They're leaving. The few that
Yeah.
are left are
Yeah.
just like, just put in Jeffries. At least we'll have somebody that's stable
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Because they don't have anybody, especially with them losing these seats, what they can afford to lose one vote right as of right now, and there's more Republicans
Yes.
leaving. So
Yes.
they're going to shoot themselves in the foot, and we're going to get Jeffries. But I feel like
Yes.
it maybe takes like a month before we get to that point. I
So
just feel
you
more
feel like
chaos in the house. Could be
May,
Maine or
June?
June. I'd always felt like it was sometime in the summer, but I don't know. Hopefully, they're not able to get another Republican in there, and then he's ousted, and then Jeffries comes in right before. Um, that could be too, but I just feel like it's chaos and a madhouse in the house.
I think we could have one more floor lower than the floor we're on.
Yeah,
I really do. I feel like we could have I mean, I'll say this after you take a drink.
I'm listening.
Spit it out. Do you think is there any energy around MTG or Bobert getting the
Oh,
speaker, if even
absolutely
for
not.
a week?
No, I don't see that at all.
What about cinema? Somebody else. There's a woman. There's some woman.
What, like Stephonics?
Stefanik.
It could be
Stefanik.
her. Oh, that would be so awful.
I said
And
one more floor down.
we're scaring everybody that's watching this right now by saying her name. I don't know, though. I don't know if she has enough support. MTG or
Stefanik.
Bobert. Yeah.
That's a really good point. Do the Freedom Caucus, do they like Stefanik? I don't think so. I don't think those two women, not one of them is not in the Freedom Caucus anymore, but I don't think they like any of those women.
Uh-huh. I
There's
don't
some
but I
kind of
don't
deal being made.
MTG and Bobert are too extreme that she would
Yeah.
never get the moderate. I don't even think
No.
they would consider them because I think behind the scenes, most people view them as a joke anyway, not somebody to be taken seriously. But I could see them going for Stefanik. She took, I think, Liz Cheney's position when they ousted her, right? Was it
Yeah.
like co-chair?
Yeah.
But
So
I don't know if she would have enough votes either.
that's why you see it being a stalemate. That's why
Yeah.
you remember how many votes did McCarthy have to cycle through? How embarrassing. The Republicans have no embarrassment abilities anymore. Um, People are saying Bobert is in the hospital. Can somebody Google that and see if that's for real true?
I
I
heard
think
she had like
we
a blood clot in her leg and she had surgery. I think she'll be totally fine.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
don't see it being a major serious thing. I
Okay,
see
okay.
her being fine.
Okay. I didn't I see Bobert going out before MTG. Do you see it that way or the other way?
Oh, I see Bo Brett out first.
We both
I
see Bobert going out.
Mhm. I almost don't even know if with Ken Buck leaving, they're having a special election, I think it's in June. But then I think almost the person that replaces him, MTG won't have a fighting chance in that, or Bobert won't have a chance in that race. So she
He's not
screwed
going to have
herself
it.
by leaving her
She
district.
did.
Although I think Adam uh,
Frisch.
Fraish or whatever his
Yeah.
name was
Yeah.
is going to win that seat regardless.
Yeah. I think she's going to lose.
Hmm.
So that's good for us. That's really good. Um,
MTG might get reelected, and then I almost
that's what
feel
you
like
saw.
spring of next year, as more of these Congress people are starting to get charged and indicted, and court cases start, I almost feel like her being ushered out in the spring with other
In spring of
mhm,
25.
of 25.
Yeah.
Does that resonate with you too?
Yeah, I mean, justice just moves so slow, but we would want it to move slow if it was us. We would want our
Yeah.
day in court. We would want to have our time to assemble our team. I mean, we would all want fair justice, so we want fair justice for them too. But yeah, I agree. I think she's out for sure
She's
by
not.
spring of next year, but I think she might be out this year by the end of the year.
Yeah. Well, that would be even better, right?
That'd be even better. Because all this dark money, you wanted to talk about the dark money too. All this dark money is it's trackable. It's RICO. It's RICO. It's trackable.
Mhm.
You can track and see who gave what to whom and what did you do with it? Where did it come from? I just feel like that's what's going to nab a lot of these Republicans.
Yeah, me
If
too.
it's not RICO Jan 6, it's RICO dark money coming in. Like for campaign funds, you can't accept foreign money. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm. Could it
or
be
if
for
there's
both?
a what's
Is
that?
there a group that gets RICO indictments for January 6th and then some of them, but others, like, I think more senators involved with the dark money,
That's right. That's
um,
two different
taking
things.
them out? Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there
because I
might
felt
be
like
some overlap, but they're
mhm,
basically two different things.
yeah, I could
It's
totally see that
who did
too.
they just show me? They just showed me a picture of somebody. Who's our Democrat who needs to step down? Who
Menendez,
Menendez.
I see
It's
him
like
now.
that.
He get some jail time.
It's like that. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
he's got
Doesn't it just
connections
really
to a foreign
grind your
country.
gears though, Susan, that they go after a Democrat first and we see me and you and all the other psychics and intuitives in our community know all the corruption and dark money,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
bribes that the Republican Party has taken, but of course, the first one that has to be put on notice is Menendez, right? Just
I It doesn't bother me. I'm happy for all of them. I don't care who you are. If you're I mean, I
yeah,
agree with
great
you,
point.
but they're not really making much of it in the political ads. You know what I mean? Right now, they could be dragging us pretty bad with that, but they're really not.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. China just got busted with something, Sandy. Sandy says, does China give dark money to US politicians? China, I
Yeah, I
just
can
read
feel
that
that.
China just got busted doing something. It's in the
I feel like
news.
what I'm picking up on with a lot of the Republicans and stuff, it feels like Russian dark money. But I do feel China does give money too.
Yeah. I mean, any country is going to do that. You want to buy access. If
Mhm.
access can be bought, you want to buy it, right? I mean, they
Well,
all want to have a senator or a rep in their pocket.
how many of those senators I don't know if you read on this or predicted it too, but those senators, Republican senators that went to Russia in 2018, I felt like they got money, and that's
Yes.
where it feels like it's that connection.
Yes.
So,
And didn't they go on the 4th of July?
mm,
We're going to
yeah,
look
I think
back
so.
and we're going
Yeah,
to
I
look
think it
back
was
and go, wow,
yeah,
you know, that's just
crazy.
crazy.
So how many more do you get a number for how many more Republicans you see leaving the House, and do you feel any more leaving sooner, like, within, like, the next month or 2?
Yes. I just heard uh leaving not in handcuffs, right? Like leaving,
Yeah,
say, like
like, we're
10 buck,
stepping
like,
down.
"Hey,
I
I'm
felt like
done,
3.
out of here." Republicans in the House, I feel like 2 more are leaving.
Okay.
2
I
more
just
are
heard
leaving
3,
by
so
May.
2 or
What
3?
you heard
I heard
3?
3.
I'll go
2
with
or 3.
3. I'll go by May or by when?
I feel 1's leaving this month.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I feel
But I
like by
mean,
May.
maybe you got 3 because your timeline's out further than mine. Maybe it's,
Mhm.
um 2 to 3, I'll take that. That's awesome. That's before the election, you guys. That's just people just stepping down. And some of it is pressure for whatever reason. Maybe they have done some things they shouldn't have done, but
Yeah.
a lot of it is there is no RNC anymore. It's just the TNC. And if you don't go kiss the ring and grovel for a little bit of money, you're not going to get any money unless whatever you can convince people to send directly to you.
I got the same thing, Susan, that they were so pissed off about Trump putting Laura Trump into the RNC
Yeah.
and funneling all of the resources and money from the RNC to Trump, and screwing them over, and that's I think was, like, the final straw for a lot
Mm.
of them. I don't think that they're all going to step down, but they even had, like, I think Johnson and the Republicans were supposed to have some kind of, like, summit or Republican gathering at
That's
some
right.
location, and what, like, less than 100 showed up?
Yeah. And that's one of those things, Republicans are mandatory. They all monitor the attendance, and they give you a hard time if you don't show up. You're a rhino. Yeah, so that's a big indication that the interior of the party's not together.
Uh-huh. I don't see this happening, but I thought it was kind of funny. Karen says, and not that I find it funny that Bobert's in the hospital or not doing well, I don't, but wouldn't it be a good time to bring a vote to the floor while she's in the hospital? It would be, but they're on recess right now, so
They got to be coming back soon though.
I think they come back next week.
And I don't think she's going to be back by then. But it could be that she's still in recovery and another Republican drops out. I mean, you guys, I'm telling you, things are going to happen that you just can't believe. It
Mm,
seems impossible. But this is the energy. This is this eclipse energy.
yeah. Well, my guides had told me too when the last one said he was stepping down, was it Gallagher? I felt a female. It doesn't feel like I don't feel Bobert stepping down. And like I said, I feel like she's able to kind of get the health back under control, and it's not like a long-term thing. Even though I'm sure that that's scary to have blood clots, but but I feel like a woman Republican stepping down, or maybe it's because she's out and they have a floor vote. I don't know. It doesn't feel like they're voting Jeffries in right this second, though.
No,
It
no,
feels like
no.
it's
Kay
going summer.
Granger. Yeah, Kay Granger, Rose
That's
Blue.
who I felt like it might
Yeah,
be. I know that she
yeah.
said that she's not running for re-election, but and I think I'd even posted that on my community tab. Like I felt like it could be Kate Granger,
She's
because I
in
remember
Texas.
her saying she's stepping down. Yeah, at the end of the year.
And
Yeah,
Murkowski.
she's gonna switch to an independent before the election. I feel. I don't see her stepping down. She'll switch parties. Does that resonate with you too?
It does, but it makes me mad.
I know. I hear you.
'Cause it's like, come on, you know what I mean? Like you've always been wishy-washy. I don't know what the heck you're doing over there.
I
Um,
almost feel like she might actually. I just got a hit that she may switch to an independent in May.
do you think she's really gonna show up and vote the right way though? Because she just drives me
I think
crazy.
she does on some issues, like abortion and maybe some social stances, but I think financially, she's very conservative. But I also almost I feel like she may actually be one that endorses Biden before the election. I could see that.
McCarthy?
I could see her endorsing Biden.
Wow.
I
Yeah,
don't know if
she's
I
a
feel
senator.
any
Yeah,
other.
we're jumping around. We know she's a senator. We're jumping around.
Yeah.
We're just following the energy. If a name comes to us, we're following it. Um,
Has Mitt Romney, he hasn't endorsed Biden, but he said that he would vote for Biden over Trump.
he did say that.
I feel like there's a couple Republican senators, maybe not full throat endorsement of Biden, but really standing up against Trump and saying that they will vote for Biden over Trump. And that I feel like that may be what she does. I don't know if I feel Susan Collins being brave enough to do that.
Oh God, no. Yeah, that's a
All
good
right.
question, Sherry. Who would Murkowski caucus with? I just heard the Dems.
Oh, interesting.
Do you think she would caucus with the Dems? Yo, I don't know what's going to be left of the Republican Party. I mean, really, I
I
just don't know.
I feel like she's pretty much down the middle with it. I
So
don't
how
know.
does
Does
she
an
caucus? Does she
independent
just
have to caucus with somebody?
probably not? I
I
don't
don't
know.
know if she has to.
It limits her power, doesn't it? Doesn't it limit her because she's not going to be on
I
committees? I mean,
I see her working with Democrats though.
I see her working
Uh,
more with Democrats, but it's that same thing like Joe Lieberman or these other people that are like,
mhm,
even John McCain, like, sometimes they're over here, sometimes they're over there. It's like, it's kind of hard to pin them down on anything.
right. All right.
Good
So
question
is there
about
any
Citizens United.
I see it, I don't see it being struck down this year, but I do see them striking it down. It feels like it might be like a year or 2.
26. I heard 26, but
Me
we can
too.
always hope for 25. Um, they're going to go for it. The Democrats are going to go for it. I think they're going to fix the filibuster or, you know, somehow or another make it more usable. Um,
Mhm.
and then they're going to start really going for some things like the Supreme Court expansion, Citizens United. Do you think is it John Lewis voting rights Act. Do you
I
see
see
that
that
getting
getting
passed?
passed or
I
something
see that
very
getting
similar,
passed.
voter rights.
And I've always seen abortion being codified, being brought back into law.
Yeah.
Do you see that as well?
I almost feel like 2025 and 2026, I think 2025 they work on like changing the filibuster so that they can do more, really getting a lot of the agenda pieces put through. And then as we get more so into 2026, finishing up the agendas, but then also being able to put um, guardrails in to make sure that our democracy is safe.
Yes.
Maybe they start putting in term limits for some of the Supreme Court. I almost feel like it could go either way with expanding the court, or maybe they end up deciding to put term limits in instead rather than the expansion. I see them talking about both. Maybe they do both.
Both. I think they do both. I think it's a 1-2 punch,
Hmm.
but I
But
don't
when
know
they
how
start
they're going to
putting
do
up the
term limits.
guardrails, when they start
Yeah,
putting
we
up the
need
guardrails,
guardrails.
is when they'll start going after like Citizens United and all of that.
And dark money. And the
Hmm.
media, we're going to be looking at the First Amendment. We're going to be looking at the Second Amendment, because in the Electoral College, that's the
That's
other
coming a
thing
little
they
bit
travel
later though,
through. You think it's going to go?
but I think it's like 2032.
Woof, Jesus.
It's a couple sections. I don't see it. It's like 8 years away, I think.
What about ranked choice voting? Do you see that coming in before?
Well, I think that that would maybe be what they replace the Electoral College with, right?
I don't
Would it
know. I
be,
feel like it comes in before because it's not, well, yeah, I guess you're right.
you know what, the ranked choice voting though, Susan, and maybe you're picking it up this way. I don't know if it goes federally, but I feel more states doing it.
Oh, maybe so. Maybe so.
Like
I mean,
there's
I
more
don't know
than,
how I feel about it. I've never done it, but I can just tell you my spirit guides talk to me about it nonstop. So,
mhm.
um, like the Susan part of this thing, I don't have an opinion, never experienced it. I
I got
know
a
some people
strong,
like it, some people don't.
I'm not familiar with it. It's like you vote for one person, but then have a second choice if that person doesn't want it. I think it's good for primaries when you have multiple candidates, but how would you do it for,
Right. Maybe it's
you know, a
primary. You
two-party
guys,
system?
I'm sure somebody does it. Let us know in the chat.
I do feel though, and maybe it kind of goes in with this, we're going to get to a point here soon where it's more than just a two-party system. I almost feel like three and then a four-party system.
Really? I
Like,
saw that too, but nobody else sees that. People want to fight.
mm,
We're never going to have more than two parties. I'm like, no, I think we're going to have 3 or 4 viable parties. Like some of these
yeah,
other countries have 3 and 4 viable parties, and
I
they
see that
form
happening too.
coalitions. And um, I think that the Republican Party could break into 2 parties.
The Democratic Party I see too. I don't see it being a massive implosion like the Republican Party, but I do feel a fracture in the Democratic Party, like 2028, 2032.
Yeah. Okay. I see that for sure.
Mhm.
2032 for sure. So apparently the New York City mayor's race used ranked choice voting. So
Oh, interesting.
that's interesting. So it's probably like you're saying, Kevin, it's like local races,
For
state
primary.
races. Um, and then Wiki's question has been sitting here and nobody's been
I
paying
just
any.
pulled it up and I got a resounding yes when I read it. Will Jamie Raskin help in making amendments to the Constitution?
Yeah.
I got a strong yes. I almost feel like Jamie Raskin was a founding father in a past life, and so
Yes.
he's kind of coming back to this life to kind of work with the Constitution. Does that
Yes.
resonate with you too?
Yeah, he's a constitutionalist is what the guides say. Like
Yeah,
I don't know, actually don't know anything about Jamie Raskin other than Jamie Raskin, but is he an attorney? He's a constitutional scholar. He studies the Constitution. That's what the guides are saying. I don't know what he does.
I saw this once or twice, and maybe it broke while we were going live. I hadn't heard it. People are saying Trump's bond was rejected.
Somebody else came in and said it was like an error in filling out the form. Remember how he didn't check the box to get a jury duty, a
Uh-huh.
jury? And he was like, why don't I have a jury? It's like you didn't check the box to say you
So
wanted
what,
a
he has
jury.
to redo it then?
Well, somebody said that it's just a typo or a error and that it's probably going to go through. Well, we can read it. I mean, let's see. Do we think that his money, his bond money, is going to go through?
I
Hilda says
felt
she
like
saw that it was denied, not rejected error. Not rejected error. Don't know what that means. He didn't include his financial statement. He didn't include his financial statement. It's just, you can't make this stuff up. Please let this really bad movie we're in end. Let it end. The bond company needs to provide their financials plus a signature error. The man can't do anything because everything is so crooked. My God, y'all.
Xander says the loan company made some errors. They need to correct it. I feel like they're going to correct it.
I think they're going to correct it, and I think they're going to let it go through, but then I think they're going to investigate it.
Yeah, it could be.
Because I feel like this stuff that they're withholding is people are gonna be like, what? This is not acceptable. And it's gonna go through, but then it's gonna get a flag. It's gonna get flagged. That's
They're
what I
watching
just heard.
it.
Golly, if nothing else, he gets another delay, right? He gets another probably month delay. That's all they're doing is they're just trying to buy this. Was this even on purpose, right? To throw a stick in the wheel of justice.
Well, it's like the Wheel of Fortune here. It's a turning point, but I do feel like there was some sneaky strategy with this.
Yep.
And the results leave him anxious. So it's like that investigation into it.
Somebody's going to, this is not going to fly. Is this the Tish James? Because I just got Tish James and I cannot keep all these people straight. Is this the Tish James thing?
Yes.
It is. It is. So I just got Tish James. Oh, Tish James is going to be over there going, like, no, what is this? What is this? No, she's going to be throwing motions. I don't know what that means. This could be a problem for 45. I told you guys, whatever money he got was going to come back and be his worst nightmare. That's what the guide said. Yes, he's going to get money, but it's going to be his worst nightmare. It's tainted. The money is tainted. It's going to cause more investigations. You've always seen more charges against him.
Yeah, I feel some coming.
Like they're coming.
We've been on for an hour and a half, so let's end with this. Now that Judge Merchan in the hush money case has put a gag order and then he's expanded it, do you see Trump being charged with like contempt and jailed, or do you feel like there's sanctions getting placed? Because we know he's already violated the gag order. He's going to continue to push. It's like he wants the optics of, look how unfair they are. They're throwing me in jail. He would love the optics of it, but he would lose his shit if he was in jail for more than 5 minutes. Can you imagine?
Yes.
I don't know. I've never felt jail, but I do feel like it gets very, very close to that. Like, I feel like Merchan is like, listen, we're going to sanction you. If you do it again, we're throwing your ass into jail, is kind of like the energy that I pick up with it.
Do you remember during Jean Carroll, he was in contempt and they started fining him $100,000, not no 15, not 5,000, $100,000. I think he got fined twice, like $100,000 twice. And he, all of a sudden he could be quiet. I feel like money really is the thing. You're right. He does want to go to jail. He's talked about it before. He's compared himself to Nelson Mandela, which should really cause God to strike him with lightning just for that very thing. But anyway, but I feel like you're right. He can't.
I feel like he gets fined twice, and like the second time, the judge is like, "No nonsense. He's not enough. Do it again, and we're throwing your ass in jail." That's exactly how it's coming to me. Like, sorry to be with the language, but that's how serious the judge is what I'm feeling.
I totally agree.
Chutkin in the DC case, I feel like has to be super firm like that too.
Everybody's going to have to be super firm because you see what they do. They're just, it's just a mockery. And, related to that is, y'all remember that Peter Navarro, Trump's guy who is in his cabinet, is in jail right now for contempt of court. And apparently he sent a letter to, I think, Alito on the Supreme Court saying, please, please, please let me out.
Isn't that hilarious?
These people they feel like, they think they're above the law. You know what I mean? He's like writing a Supreme Court justice to say, please, can you let me out? I don't like it in here. Surely Trump has seen that and it is like thinking, maybe this isn't going to work out for me. Um,
That's
yeah,
hilarious. I
he
love
will.
it.
If Trump goes to jail, he will make a lot of money. And you're right. Like all of this is building his victim persona. I'm
Mhm.
I what does he say? He says, I take it so you don't have to. I'm gonna stand in
Right.
the breach so you don't have to. They're coming after me, doing all these terrible things to me so that you don't have to have it to you.
Acts like
Um,
he really cares about his supporters. If any of them were on fire, he wouldn't piss on them to put the fire out.
he didn't. He
He's
didn't.
disgusted by them. But it goes into this victim and I'm a martyr and then even for like some of the really, ones that are out there, they think he's the second coming of Christ and they seriously think that.
We're after
They
Trump is gone, we have to figure out what to do with these people because they're
and
not
listen.
they're not going to be ordinary citizens. They're not participating in our democracy.
Mhm.
So I think as they act out and get outside of that, the rule of law, they're going to get incarcerated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or put in, a mental institution.
I feel like there's actually money and, efforts to go to help deprogram people. How does that
Yes,
feel
I
like for
saw
you?
that too. Yes,
It's like these deprogramming clinics popping up all over the US to help these
I
people.
saw that too. And I saw Biden or the government underwriting it, for some period of time. If you want to check yourself in for some period of time, you can get this for like free or like in the beginning when they were giving
Yeah,
away the shots. Yeah, deprogrammed.
absolutely.
Exactly. That's I saw exactly the same thing. Um yeah, it's terrible. But yeah, guys, hang in there because I this is just the beginning of
Yeah.
of the season of the wackadoodle season that we're going into.
I've been telling everybody that it's so important, especially we have this heavy eclipse energy coming up. Um, there's so many empaths in our community that are just sensitive. Just making sure that we're not getting into the fear. Let's breathe. Let's be in the now. Let's ground our energy. Know that this shall pass, and there's positive stuff coming in on the horizon. So just focusing on this future that we want to manifest for ourselves, but really sticking out of the fear is so important.
It's super important, you guys. This is toxic, toxic, toxic stuff.
Mhm. Take a break from the news, go outside, breathe some fresh air, go do things that are uplifting for you. Kind of distract yourself when you feel like you're starting to go down that downward spiral, which we all do. Um, I do Reiki, so if you want to feel nice and grounded and balanced and aligned, you can reach out to me. I can help with that. Um, but yeah, we all have to be nice and grounded and come together as a community to really kind of get through this time. It's going to be crazy and heavy, but we'll get through it.
We'll get through it, guys. And good things are happening. Really and truly, good things are happening.
Yeah,
And you're just going to see more and more of that. Yeah, if
absolutely.
you're stressed out, thank you, moderators, too. And I'm sorry you're stressed out, Hilda. You listen to Kevin. It's true. We've got to breathe. We've got to disengage from the media, and just try to. I'll tell you what. If you guys think we're stressed out, the people who don't watch psychics, they
Right.
really really think that Trump is going to win, and those people, God bless those people. They're just basket cases, literally basket
Or if
cases.
you watch
So
some of the weird psychics on YouTube that you don't resonate with, that say that Trump's going to win, I just don't even put my time or attention into energies that I don't resonate with.
no, I don't
Not
either.
calling
But
anybody out. I mean, everybody's kind of entitled to predict what they predict, but I just for myself, I watch other channels or programs that are uplifting for me that it isn't going to that resonates with what I enjoy and
distraction,
yeah,
distraction. Find a cool, weird thing that you didn't even know you liked, and maybe it's somebody farming snails. I don't know. You know what I mean? Find
yeah,
something that's like your thing, and just get into it and let yourself be distracted.
absolutely. Well, Susan, this was so much fun. I always enjoy our shows
Thank you.
together. It's always a lot of fun. I'll talk to you after the show, but let's plan to do your channel next month if that's fine with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Thanks, everybody. You guys take good care.
Yeah. Please hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please go over to Susan's channel, support her, and subscribe and thumbs up. And it really helps get the leave a comment too. It kind of helps get the the video algorithms out on YouTube, and it's helpful for us. But
Share it.
it's always
I said this once or twice, but seriously, share it with your Democrat friends. Share it with
yeah,
your Democrat club, because those are the people who are freaking out. They're not watching psychics, good ones or bad
right.
ones. They're watching MSNBC and pulling their hair out and about to have a coronary. Share the video, share it around. Say, hey, just check it
Absolutely.
out.
Somebody just posted in the chat the psychic that was on Fox News that had the Five of Cups for Donald Trump. That was hilarious, wasn't it?
That was awesome. Terrible. She's like, oh, oh.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right,
We've had
everyone.
some good wins.
We have. All right, everyone. You all have a great night and sending you all a lot of love and blessings and be on real soon. I'll be on tomorrow night with Mel Dore. So stop by and, like I said, check out Susan's channel too. All right. Take care, everyone.